you can leave your speakers on because this is much more interactive. It's also, I'm incredibly nervous about this bit because you're all beautiful instrumentalists. And again, I'm pretty certain that you all know this. The initial stuff that I do with string quartets and with my orchestra and with individual players, as soon as I can get them to do this, and it's much easier to do it face to face than it is to do it and translate it online, is essentially them understanding what resonant tones are. And they're within our world, I call them a ringing tone, and they're a magic note that you get 2 for the price of 1. So it's to sell. Using your 4th finger on your A string particularly is just such a joy because you get double the volume, guys, for free. So what we're looking at is that I'm going to start on a D string for a second because it's the easiest one to do on a violin. This is very much more difficult. It's nearly impossible to do it in a bass. It's not impossible, but it's much harder. So what I do with the children when they're face to face with me is that we aurally find a G. And then I stand and I touch their G string like I was touching the cell of my nose, so that I essentially disrupt the reverberation of the G string. And if the note isn't in tune, the G string doesn't magically wiggle. But when it is, you get this wah, wah, wah disrupted sound. To God, I'm in tune. Now, for the child to do the tap with their 2nd finger at the same time as hold down a 3rd finger on a different string is obviously a technical limitation in itself. And within my teaching, I'd have a parent or I'd have me, and they're touching it. And you can actually see it. Sorry about the screech. You can also hear it. And I've got kids that I've taught how to tune since March online, in which they're recognizing perfect intervals, and they start to be able to hear this hidden sound. Okay, so if you do want to try it, I'm going to share a screen with you that is the resonant exercise that we use with everybody from really middle book 1, which would be in their 2nd year of learning, and I call it the toothbrush for the ear exercise. So it's cleaning your wee ear out. And if you do this thing every day, it entirely changes the way that you hear things. And I know that it's had a massive influence on my playing, because I think previously, like I would have heard even professional string quartets playing and thought, oh my God, they're amazing. And then you hear again a couple of years later after doing this exercise every day, and they're slightly out of tune. So I'm really fussy about tuning. So the ringing tones are obviously in this first exercise, it's treble clef, are the G, the D. This G is the hardest one. It's like the C on your cello, really difficult to get it in tune. Your A is obviously there, but the quality of a B, every note, when they're playing this for a couple of years, every single note should have the ringing quality. So if you want to mute, and what I'm going to do, I think I'll do call and answer with you, because that's the easiest way to do it for now, so that I'm not playing on top of you. So I will count myself in. I will then accommodate to a delay, whether that's a real delay or not, and that I'll then count you in, and you're doing the same exact note as I was doing. So I'm going to use a metronome of about 70, and if we turn it up nicely, and it just keeps me, and I'm going to pop it to 4 beats so that you're not disconcerted. So I'll play 4 beats and see if I can get my resonance, and then I'll count 4, and then you're seeing if you can get your resonance, which I'm absolutely certain you just get it and nail it down and go, move on, Katharine. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, my turn. 1, 2, 3, your turn. 1, 2, and I'm playing the B, and 1, 2, 3, and listening really bright. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, I'm not taking you through. I'll send this PDF. What's very interesting, I'm going to stop sharing that for a second and pop your speakers on. That one. You can actually hear it. There's the E. So that exercise, there's a story about the first American to go to Japan was a gentleman called William Starr, amazing guy. He brought his 7 children with him for a year sabbatical to study with Suzuki. And his eldest daughter was a cellist, and she got back to America, and her teacher asked her, sorry, what have you been doing? And she had simply played that exercise all year in different keys. That was it. And it just entirely opens up the resonance and that quality of what is actually in tune, because you're either in tune and you've nailed it, or you're not. It's really black and white, which fits my personality. It's like maths and music degree. You're either right or wrong now, lads. The wee story that I tell them about the leading note and a localized leading note is Mozart's wife. So Mozart was horrible at getting out of bed, just terrible. So what his wife did, Constanza, had a piano, or it was a harpsichord, obviously. Just, I know this is a terrible story, and there's equal temperament and natural temperament and all of that, and don't question me in that. It's just a story. So Mozart's wife, to get him out of bed, would play. And he'd have to get up to do the do. And I talked to them about, that's the leading note. Like I give it the right name, and you go, and it leads on. And we do it in lots of different. Ooh, that's like, it's so sharp, it's painful. But that relationship I want. And they get it. And then they tend to be, this is middle book 1, I do this, but they've all done this within quartets as well, that when they do their, what you're technically doing is you've got a gap between your B and your G, but when you go to your leading note, it's squished. It's an entirely different place. But if they start to hear it, and if they have one piece that they apply it, what I call geographically, to their finger patterns and to where do you put your finger, it doesn't, like, we lie to them for years. We say the note doesn't move, and we put a sticker on, and then we go, oh sorry, it does. You go, but if you're in G, it doesn't. You know, guys, the horrible things we do to kids. So, but that the resonant exercise to me is my god of tuning exercises. I do it with anything I possibly can, and then relate notes within a key to a resonant. The last one that I used that's working really nicely with this tuning on Zoom, but also it's toothbrush for the ear, is to find the quality of a perfect fifth. So that, and to do a tuning bow. So I actually teach them a piece that uses the speed of bow that I want them to use to be able to tune very much in advance of me ever expecting them to do this. I also teach them 7 levels of strings, and they should be able to tell me which one they're on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And I should be able to visually tell, like, what string am I on now? What string am I on now? What string am I on now? I'm actually on A and D. I should be able to see physically, geographically where they are, so that there's lovely, clean technique. But what Hugh had said about tuning the D and the B, and then tuning the A or the B and the E, and that they're different. But that I think mostly our tuning within string issues is based on our first finger isn't high enough. it just sets, I know we set technically from 3 and 4, but tuning wise we set from 1 probably. Sorry, I need new strings, but we're in lockdown. And it's the same quality. And then I literally get them to put down their violin and go, jeepers, that's huge. It's massive to get that guy in tune. And the other thing I do for tuning is I had a student years and years ago that learned his C sharps and got his C naturals. And then from then on, everything was a half sharp. Just, okay, we're going to bung a second finger down there. Don't care what key I'm in. And I ended up putting a monkey sticker that had really, it was a nasty old sticker now. It had quite vicious teeth. It was one of those little Taz guys that, you know, and he had to step over the monkey to get it in tune, because that's probably a D flat. So a lot of the time you walk into my orchestra rehearsals and I'm looking at a child going, step over the monkey, for goodness sake. And they all know the analogy. And within, if they're my kids, they know the analogy. Do you guys have any tuning things that you go to, or building chords? Like I'm done on that section. I'm only going to do about 10 more minutes. Anybody, any other ideas on tuning and building, like the bass, Scary and Teresa and Dara and Ria? Wow, how many basses have we got in the room? That's so cool. And Yvonne is there as well, and a bassoon. Do you tune from the bass?
I often use the open D and then play first finger A and really tune that fifth. So the fifth really rings. I use that a lot. And also to play the low G so that the open G resonates by itself. That's how you know your low G is in tune, especially if you're in an orchestra and there's lots of noise going on.
Yeah.
You can't often tell if your G is really, if your low G is really in tune, but if you can see your G, your open G resonating, that really makes a big help. I also use the C. If you play the C, and if the C is in tune, you'll hear the open G resonate as a fifth above. We use that as well. But that's only if the C is really in tune, that G, you'll hear that G above.
Yeah, I think I've had one magic experience with our orchestra in which we were rehearsing during a winter camp, and I was working on tuning because they were really quite abysmal. And I had the magic experience of asking them, could they hear the flutes after, like there's 10 minutes of being really fussy. And they all said, yeah. And then I said, turn around, and the flute players weren't playing. It was ringing like the Irish Chamber Orchestra rings all the time. But I've only ever got it once in rehearsal. So, but it was magic, and those kids will remember that they could hear the difference tone. You go, oh, now we're talking, lads. Dara's just popping back in again. What do you do? Yes.
I have a question, and it's actually for Hugh, but it's about this because Geza Silva has this wonderful way of tuning using harmonics, and I just wondered if Hugh uses that for working on intonation.
Yeah, we use the harmonics an awful lot at this throughout the thing to pitch, and it so I suppose most of the children are playing in tune from the beginning because they're using harmonics and things like that. But these games, when they do the fingers, like sometimes I was teaching the other day. There's a little beat, and it's hard for the children if you have the 4 and you're back to a natural second finger there. That's quite hard for them to pick the spacing of the hand at the start. But so you can find the 4. So they can do that. If they want.
Nice.
And then so they're always listening and comparing and finding things, and they play finding games all the time. So like when we're teaching young children, we can do something like I can play Do and Re, and the kids looking at me going, really? And I say, well, you come and fix it, you know. And the child will move my finger to find and teach me how to play in tune. and sort of take ownership then when they go back to the instrument afterwards of finding their own ways and things like that. So we play games. I find a lot of the time children respond to me playing things badly much better than me. So if I play it badly and they get to correct me, they seem to enjoy that tremendously. But yes, the harmonic thing is remarkable for developing that sense of pitch from the beginning, because it gives them something true to follow. And they're used extensively right throughout all of the early years to constantly refine where the pitch is, and just to clean it up a little bit. The only thing you do come across occasionally, just a small caveat, is you have to make sure that the child keeps a fresh set of strings on the violin, because sometimes the harmonics move, and then you're in trouble. I've had children who've played, and quite literally, I've never seen anything quite like it, playing on instruments, and the harmonic didn't ring perfectly in tune for reasons I really struggled with. So I always check the violins quickly just to make sure the harmonics are right. But very old worn strings can be a little bit awkward at times in terms of pitch and things like that, just to watch out for. But yeah, they do a lot of it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any other? I know that what I do with quartets is in general work from the note that's the open string in any part and build on that, you know, and work to a fifth and then fill in a third and feel qualities of thirds. That's generally what I do. So I was going to actually let you play, what I'm going to do, and we will mute for this, is I'm going to go here. You're going to very quickly see the wrong one for a second, but I'm then going to go to this. So this is, I can't show you all of it, and I actually, if we do mute now, it's it'll work very nicely. So sorry, speakers off. Mute is I'm not sure, it's a 4-letter word, I think. So what we're doing is I will start with D. This is a piece that James Ross, who was a composer in residence with Galway County and with Galway, with Athenry Music School actually, and he's composed it, and it's a 5-part ostinato essentially with a tune. Now there's a B, okay, this is badly labeled because this is a 5-bar first part of a tune, and he does have an 8-bar second part that's not included on this script, but these work over the top of one another. It's more investigating, can we allow the student, and I'm sure anybody doing orchestra knows this, so I know a lot of you, you really do know this experience. I did the Telemann canonic sonatas recently online with Ingrid Nicola, and I got to be the kid. Oh, it was such fun. Whereas when you were the teacher, no, it wasn't fun at all. So the first thing I'm going to do is just, we'll all play D together, and we're trying to tune and really listen in. I'll give you an A. I'm bang on 440, I think. One, two, three, four, D. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. We do the repeat. 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. 3, 4, 5. Excellent. So you can all sight read. So I am going to do, Jim's laughing. You're going to do D, and I'm going to take the C. Okay, so I will count you in. I'll give you a lovely strong 5 so that you know where the 1 is, and I'm conscious I don't have a 1. But you're working with me anyway. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 4, 5. 4, 5, 1. 4, 5, 1. 4, 5, 1. Okay, and we just got somebody's speaker is coming through, or mine is double dubbing on itself. I apologize. So could you hear the harmony? Sort of. Okay. Want to do part A, and I just run through it once, and then we'll do part B, and you can, or okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, go on. Two, three, repeat, and. Three, four, five. Okay, if you play the A section and I'll play the B against you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Two, three, A again. Two, three, four, five. Okay, and he's got a wonderful wee section. So it's very tutorable, I think, is that a word? And a lovely wee one. Okay, I've cut out parts here. If you guys do that, I'll do the second. Okay, so cellos have 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 5. And our slot have 3, 3. Keep going to E. Okay. Has anybody not done that before? Pop your speakers on there. Gary, did you enjoy it?
Yeah, I loved it.
Isn't it sort of fun? Well, I know
Yeah.
we're living in a world that's a little bit black and white at the moment, but to get color out of that, really, Gary, you got to get out more.
It's so pretty.
It's so, yeah, and it's even like we're missing out. I know it's electronic sound as well, but I think we're desperately, our hearts and our bodies are missing harmony. Has anybody not done that before? Cool, Hugh, how did it feel?
I'd like that, and it's interesting. I haven't done this play call repeat thing on Zoom either. It's all been very one-sided a lot of the time. So that was very interesting to see what worked there. It was disconcerting at the start, but it sort of came together. And
Okay.
yeah.
Tom, how'd you feel?
Yeah, I haven't played music with anyone since March, so that was very pleasant.
It's really nice. The canons are working well, ostinatos are working well. Like Katharina and I are both tutoring orchestras every week. A lot of it is sectionals, but that I'm getting the kids to be the leader, and I get the experience. Now I'm actually listening most of the time rather than just reveling and playing in harmony. But when I get to be the child, oh, I love it. You know, particularly when it's in harmony. I'm not that interested in playing in unison with somebody unless they're a Cork polkas would interest me in playing in unison. You know, but it's fun. You can actually do stuff like this. Kat, how are you? Have you been able to be the student occasionally?
what we do mostly in the orchestras is that we would start together, that we would, you know, say things together, clap things together, and all of that, play things together, and then that always I would play against them in a different part. So because usually it's just sectionals, they all play the same thing. So we haven't worked. We have done it with scales, and we have let somebody start and then we play against him or whatever, you know. But not with ostinatos. It's sometimes a little bit of a challenge with the Wi-Fi, the playing against each other, you know. But somebody starts nice and slowly and then gets a little bit stuck and then gets really, really fast, and so there, yeah. So there have been a bit challenges, but every time they play against me anyway. And sometimes once I had more than one part together, and then I let one of the children play. And that would be my only experience there. While the call and answer thing, what has been really beautiful has been improvising together, and just the simplest form of I start a melody and I stop and you go on, and then the next one, and then the next one, and that has really, really worked. I'm doing that usually in every individual lesson on any level, and with, you know, whatever they have, but just very, very simple, that I start. The delay doesn't matter. And
can I put you in the spot?
Sorry?
Can I put you on the spot? You got a violin?
Maybe.
We put all of us in the spot?
Well, we could. Shall we?
Nothing like doing something.
Shall we
We're
make
all
one
musicians
together and it goes round and you just shout the name of who you pass it on to?
Oh, the kids love this, by the way. My youth orchestra set each other up recently by just nominating people, and they had a giggle. It was like, haha, June's got it now.
Bertie.
Let's do that. I think it's really nice. Now, my experience is that we all have different orders of people on the screen. It's not. I don't think it's the same for everybody. So,
No.
We just have to shout at the end who we are passing it on to, and I think we should leave it completely free. No, doesn't matter what key it is, doesn't matter how long it is. Just you know, do a bit, and we. It's like improvising a story together. We have done that a lot with orchestras as well. So let's just do that. Why not? So grab your instrument.
Teach us how. Do we all have speakers on?
You know, it's microphones. This is the thing. I really appreciate the thing of the not muting, but if you say speakers, it's a different thing. So so do you, I think we could. I think we possibly should all mute ourselves. And whoever it's passed on to, they just unmute themselves. It might not be as organic. Well, actually, why don't we all? Maybe we can all be on. Let's try it that we all have our microphones on, and see what happens. And the Wi-Fi might go mad in between as well. So any key, any rhythm, any length of whatever you like. Maybe if we take a theme. Let's. I don't know if it's very, very foggy where you are, but where I am, it's incredibly foggy. I can hardly see the other side of the field there. So let's make it a foggy Sunday. Can we do that? Okay, I start. Pass it on to Christy. Chris, you have to unmute. Oh, you're unmuted, sorry.
You're on.
Actually, it's not. Can I? Beside your mute button, and I don't know whether does everybody know about the advanced audio settings? Okay, so if you don't, go onto the mute button and there's a chevron. Hit that, and it should give you the option for audio settings. It may not unless you're a co-host. Okay, and if you're on a computer. Okay, if it does, go on to advanced, and there is a setting called suppress persistent background noise. That's not for Oscar. That's not what he qualifies as. Its violin is persistent background noise. As soon as you have something that goes like a washing machine in the background, Zoom cuts it out. So if you're playing legato, if you can get that setting changed and disable it. And then it should bring in your instrument immediately. Otherwise, Christy, it takes a couple of seconds for it to recognize that you're playing something.
Depending on
Can't
which
you hear me?
version, depending on which version of Zoom that you're currently running, you can actually go a step further, Catherine. And when you go into your audio settings, what you want to do is you want to enable original sound.
Turn on
Yeah.
original sound.
And if you're on original sound, that takes care of most of the suppression straight away.
Yeah.
Without
So,
having.
Christy, do you still have the beautiful start of the Foggy Sunday with you there? And then go on.
Sorry, Katharina.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
No. Interesting now.
Catherine.
I think that was written before. Mendelssohn comes to mind. Dara.
I probably have more rain. I didn't hear yours, so it's kind of hard for me to continue on from where you stopped. Getting
Imperfect
my
cadence.
trusty cello.
And your person?
Oh yeah, Gary.
Rita?
Yvonne?
Rita. Ria. Sorry, Ria.
Neve.
June. Rachel Power.
Who has not gone yet? I don't know.
You, we think.
Hugh.
Sorry, I was just saying, I missed most of that for some reason. I don't know if my broadband is working or not properly, but I'll try. What we got?
Katie, your turn.
Bravo! I'm the audience. Bravo! Bravo! Oh,
So,
hands. How do you do
so
that?
Thank
that is
you.
something you can do in like any orchestra session, but also any individual session. And it's just, especially the first weeks of lockdown, I lived of those moments in the lessons because I just felt so disconnected, and it immediately kind of connected something there. And it can be incredibly simple and no rules whatsoever, but just for the thing of connection.
Thanks, Katharina. Just the last thing that we had done within, and what we're trying to do is, okay, none of us are doing quartets on Zoom, and I'm very conscious this is chamber music, brainstorming, chutter bust. But one of the things with all of the speakers on, and I know that you get background sound, and perhaps within Katharina, I think she perhaps was right, the first suggestion to mute everybody, because we do disrupt each other's sounds, but that I picked with my smaller groups, just a stupid question, do you like dogs or cats better? We're actually having a bring your cat or bring your pet to orchestra day next week, because we're just trying to do silly stuff. And if you don't have a cat, bring a teddy bear or bring your favorite book or something like that. What I had done was with the youth gang, had asked them recently, I said, I had a beautiful moment today that I stood outside my neighbours. There are 5 of us in the street that we don't live in each other's houses, obviously, and we certainly don't under these circumstances, but we're seeing each other at 1 o'clock every day. We just go out of the houses, we're all working from home, and we go, hello, you still alive? You know, and I was standing outside, wrapped up to all's no more, and the sun warmed my back. And I just went, oh, that memory of heat and inclusivity, and you know, when your whole back gets warmed. And I asked the kids to find me throughout the rehearsal, just have a think about it, and at the end of the rehearsal we'll take 10 minutes and we'll have a think. The kids came up with magic stuff. One kid said, you know, when you take the first bite of the bounty, I just let it melt. Another child said her dog leant into her when she got home from school today. And one kid said, my pillow is the perfect temperature. Oh, and it's trying to guide these kids that, okay, the Late Late Toy Show was one thing that was a big thing that everybody could look forward to, but actually guiding them, trying to mentally guide them through this world that is now much smaller, but that our small things become much bigger, and meriting those, and meriting, like Gary saying, oh, that was lovely, and he's played 2 lines of music, and you go, oh, yes, it was. So it's about really guiding them to merit small joys. So thank you very much. That's my stuff. Thanks, Kat.
Okay.
Well done.
Thanks very much. I would like to have now one more aspect, which is practical rhythm training, and you can actually put away your instruments for that. And it's just going to be a little bit of clapping, a little bit of just when you have a group and you're doing something new. I'm sure you're all doing you know, different things, and with the same ideas. I just want to share with you what I've been doing and how it has worked over the past years. So I'm going to share my screen. And let's see if that works. So in so we have different ways of rhythm training, but this is this are the words which we call the clapping names that we are currently using. They're changing a little bit, and one thing that I hadn't fully realized when we started this is that that obviously there is a common Kodai thing that is used within Kodai training, and that color strings are using. I didn't quite know that. I heard of Ta before, so I think this is why Ta kind of got stuck in there. I never liked TT because I just thought it's sometimes sounds a little bit funny, especially for little kids. So I called it Tek for quavers, and then one Tek by itself. Then we have the 2 for a minute.
Katharina,
yes,
we are still on slide 1.
Oh no.
Sorry, I just think you're on slide 2.
Thank you for telling me.
Looking at these tiny prints.
I am on
Sorry.
slide. Actually, I'm on slide 3 by now. Hold on, I can't get out of it. Help!
Yeah, it's working. It's working.
Okay,
Slide 2.
hold on. Are we on slide 2 now?
Yes, thank
I
you.
think I'm just gonna do it the very unprofessional way and just have the whole PowerPoint open. Do you see my whole PowerPoint now with everything around it, or do you just see slide 2?
We see everything around it.
That's absolutely fine. We go for that now. Something is just not working in that. So that is.
In there. I'm sorry to disturb you, and I know you're going on there into your PowerPoint, but did everybody know that you can actually annotate the screen? So beside where it says you are viewing Katharina Baker's screen, you can annotate, and you can actually, like in a theory class or something, you can actually draw. So, you know, if you did a rhythm ta, ti, ti, ta, you could actually just draw ta, ti, sorry, I'm doing it the wrong way. You can do so you could do ta, ti, ti, ta. You can actually, I don't know if you know that, like, I'm sorry if you already know. It's amazing. I found it out. Wow, it's amazing.
So
trying to figure it now. Sorry.
Where do you do it, June?
So if you go into you can, so for me, I'm viewing your screen and it comes up in green. There you go. You are viewing Katharina Baker's screen, and it says view options. There's a drop down menu, annotate, and you can do a stamp. It says a mouse, text, draw, stamp, arrow, eraser. You can undo everything. You can do ticks. So like we heard that one. We heard that one. You know, and we did TT.
That is so cool.
Yeah, so it's just something that one of the kids did. I was like, "How did you do that?" So it's really good for theory, and you know, it's a new option there. Sorry, I just thought. Sorry to chime in.
No, that is so cool. I always thought I'd figure all these things out before I even. Anyway, that's really cool. I think there's so many possibilities that I haven't scratched at all. It's I just don't want to tell the kids, because otherwise we will end up like this here now with this. I'm sure it's I don't want to mention any names here who is anyway. So this is the chart that we are using at the moment, and you know, the semi-brief I usually draw as a teacup, or I just draw this, you know, the note, and then I make a teacup out of it, and then I tell them it's so long you might as well drink a cup of tea. And then with our action for that is tea, that you take the cup up and down and whatever. So that is kind of how they remember that. The 2 is obviously 2 beats long, so that kind of helps to remember that one. Ta, then tech if it's 1 syncopa. As soon as we have a syncopa, we do it as, you know, we call it syncopa as well. Teary then is going back to could I had something else for a long time, and we went back to teary. Now what I'm using, and I don't know if I recommend that at all, but when we have dotted notes, I exchanged the T for an S, just so they feel it is a different note. So we have su. When we have a rest, we have an action with the rest. So whenever we have a crotchet rest, we do say shh and clap out just to feel it. When we have a quaver rest, we call it just and that is kind of the action with it. Shh, shh. When we have a minim rest, we would call it shh, so that we have the double length there. So that yeah, the dotty works very well. Dotty, and then we turn it around. Tido. And that I would use a lot for, you know, when they practice, for example, any quaver or semi-quaver passages, that we first do it in the dotty rhythm, and then in the tido, and that's just something, you know, that they recognize. If I say, okay, let's make a whole tido out of it, they just know what it's just to name it something. It really doesn't matter what it is. Chocolate. Pineapple, lots of people call the triplet. Whatever works for you. Chocolate is just something I enjoy. So yeah, and then we work a lot with the solfa signs as well, but this is not what this is about. In the beginning years of Coole Music, we had a lot of kind of informal string ensembles. And I haven't done them like that for a long time, but when I was looking through old files, I found this video that I'm going to show you now, I hope, of a group that you know that we had that time where people just you know that was kind of a sight reading exercise as part of a group. They were all, as you can see, they're all sitting on the ground. It's just something to get on with, like, you know. So they got a duet, and with quite complicated rhythms. And first of all, they just wrote under those rhythms the rhythm names from this, and then we clapped it together, and then we played it together. It's all very informal, and they kind of don't even realize that they're learning it. This is something that I thought was quite interesting. So I'm just going to show you that now. I think it's 2 minutes long, and I hope it will work. Let's see if I can make that. Okay. If I go through there, can you see the second slide? Can you see the third slide now? Christy, can you tell me if you can see the movie now?
It's not moving, but we can see boy on the floor with sheets.
Okay. Why the hell is it not moving for you now?
We can see click to add title.
Yeah, that's really beautiful. That's just what I want. Shit. Okay.
Bertie, edit that word out, please.
Yeah, that's okay. Let's see if I can do this. I would love you to see that little okay, I'm so sorry that I didn't check it with you beforehand, as I should have done. I find it very hard to understand that you don't see the slideshow when I put the slideshow on, but that's what it is right now. Okay, we gone with something else, and I might get back to that. You can see the spread your wings there.
Yes.
I'd like you to try out this rhythm chart. Now you have to remember what it was all about. So just have one more look. The main things: ta, teke, syncopa. Then when we have a dotted ta, it's a saw. So if we have a dotted crotchet and a quaver, saw, tek, ta, ta. Okay, have a quick look. Now we go back to spread your wings. I'd like you to actually do that together now. Pick any part you like, and we shall see if you can clap it together. Say it rather than clap it from the beginning. So if we put a metronome on. So you can all mute yourselves now and see if you can remember what was what now. I'm gonna do the first violin right now. And 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, teke, ta, ta, 2, 2. Teke, teke, ta, ta, sa. Tek, ta, ta. Teke, teke, ta, ta, ti. Teke, teke, ta, ta, sa. Tek, ta, ta, sa. Tek, ta, ta, ti. Second violin now. Syncopa, ta, ta, 2, 2. Syncopa, ta, ta, su, ta. Syncopa, ta, ta. Syncopa, ta, ta. Syncopa, ta, ta, 2. Sorry, my there was something in the way of my own music there. So this is not very difficult music, but it is definitely it takes independence from the different players to really know their parts. So we would just you know, if we, of course, that's obviously the advantage of having a whole score rather than just your own part. So we would always work with some pieces in the whole score and then just go through the different parts, and then, you know, that then we divide up the quartet into 2 parts. That, for example, you know, all violins do the first violin part, viola and cello do the cello part, just clap it against each other and then, you know, put it into 4. But we would always have clapped it through all the way, or just said it through as a speech choir. I'm quite fond of that as well. Then you kind of hear it a little bit clearer. so that that's just there, and you don't have to think about it. So once you put your notes to it, the rhythm is completely clear. I will try in a very little while to actually show you those two videos, because they're quite sweet, of children actually working with that practically. But let's go on to that. So we are back to our clapping names. I just want you to watch out now for the main ones here. So we have a tu, we have a ta. What is not on this chart, and I don't know why, is the sh, which obviously is quite important. So the sh is the crotchet rest. With our very beginners in our very first orchestra, we would already do a lot of rhythm training with just basic rhythms like this. So this is 6 cards that I would have up on the whiteboard. So just with a bit of blue tack, that's how we would do it. And then the first thing I would do is to this is now, you know, a little children's orchestra or quartet. It can be either, but you know, often it's of course more efficient if you have a few more people together. So we would ask one at a time to clap something back. You know, it says who wants to do the second bar, and they say two, take it, and then everybody responds to take it. So we work it out until we have done every single one of them, and then we make it into a clapping piece. And again, clapping and of course saying the rhythm as well. So I'd invite you now to do that and to really watch what's what, because in a minute we're going to make a memory game out of it, which I know lots of you probably have done, but it's just in case you haven't done it, it's just something that works so incredibly well, and it teaches the kids without them actually realizing what they're doing. So let's do it from the beginning. So the 2 lines after each other. We put on our metronome again. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, take ta, ta. 2, take ta. Sh, ta, ta. Take 2. Take, sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. So we would do that from the beginning to the end, and then I would ask them which of them is easiest to remember. And I'm not going to give you the choice now, because I have kind of decided beforehand which one goes away, which one we're going to remember. But in this case, I was reckoning that most likely they would say the last one is the easiest. So I would say, okay, take an inner picture of it. Tu, ta, ta. Okay, so we will clap all 6 cards, but we're going to eliminate them now, so we only have 5. So we need to keep in our heads the tu, ta, ta, and we go from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, take ta, ta. 2, take ta. Sh, ta, ta. Take 2. Take sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. So that's all fine. Then question, which is the next easiest one to remember? And there are several ones that it could be, but I just decided now card number 5. So can we take an inner picture of take 2? So the last one was 2, ta. And there we have take 2. And I will turn it around and on the whiteboard, so you just see the back of the card, which I try to realistically make happen there for you. Okay, from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, take ta, ta. 2, take ta. Sh, ta, ta. Take 2. Take sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. Now, kids often have much better memory than the adults. So we've gotten this far. So we have our take 2, and we have 2, ta, ta. Next, we have the first one disappearing. So ta, take ta, ta. And we have take 2, 2, ta, ta. Okay, we ready to let it go? Okay, and here we go from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, teka, ta, ta. 2, teka, teka, ta, sh, ta, ta. Teka, teka, 2. Teka, sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. Okay, so next we might have realized that this card actually was exactly merged this one here. So we have the 2 teka teka, and here we had teka teka 2. So let's take that one away next. And here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta teka ta ta. 2 teka teka ta sh ta ta. Teka teka 2. Teka sh ta ta. 2 ta ta. And it's good not to talk much at this stage because we need to concentrate. Okay, do you have it all in your head? The third one is going next. So look at it. Ta, sh, ta, ta. And we take it away from the beginning. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ta, teka, ta, ta. 2, teka, teka, ta, sh, ta, ta. Teka, teka, 2. Teka, sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. I hope you're all with me. Bertie, I'm concerned about you now. Will you do all the 6 now? So, last chance here. We have 6 cards to remember, so this is possibly the hardest. Teka, sh, ta, ta. Concentrate, and this is what we have in front of us. Best of luck, everybody. Ta, teka, ta, ta. 2, teka, teka, ta, sh, ta, ta. Teka, teka, 2. Teka, sh, ta, ta. 2, ta, ta. So it is, I do that usually in the end of absolutely every junior orchestra practice to reinforce the rhythms and what they learn in that little game without actually realizing is incredible. And I think a lot of learning that way has become quite formal, while it is it's actually often they learn a lot more when it's not that formal, and when you just do it, you just have to do it again and again and all the time. And of course these rhythms, so I often just use stick notation as well. I have loads of cards of stick notation, and they get more and more complicated. So this would be the very, very basics for our youngest ones, but the little memory part of it works very well. And as an older person, I find it very satisfactory and challenging for myself to actually keep up with those kids and remember it myself. It's yeah.
Just if anybody likes to play those games, I have about 40 or 50 PDFs of just basic rhythms done out with colors and things that you can print off if you would like them, and I can put them up, and it's all done for people with different notes. I've done well. I used obviously different names. I'm trying to think what it is. So I've done ta, and we do TT, and then tiri tiri and ta and those. But the names are not on the cards. They're just flashcards for rhythms because we played the same games. And I think it's about 40 or 50 of them I've got at this stage that I can put afterwards. And you could just print them out, literally, and cut them. What I do is I print them and laminate them, and then a bit of blue tack on the back, and you can put them on boards and pull them off when kids don't want them and things like that. It's very handy. So I'll put those through afterwards if anybody would like them.
That would be absolutely brilliant. So I think it's really, really useful, and then everybody can use whatever they usually do. I'm going to try to just share with you how it looks like when the kids are doing that, and just this informal yeah. Okay.
While you're doing that, what I do with really, really young groups, so it would be maybe my 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds, is I have 4 love hearts, big red love hearts, that are on the board, and that underneath them I actually have little pictures of cats and kittens, and it's about developing cat kitten, because we can use phonetics with anything, and I do, you know, it doesn't matter, and I actually then do a big heart and 2 little hearts, and I say which one's the cat and which one's the kitten, and then I do a stick and the quaver, just stick notation. I go which one's the cat and the kitten, and then can we just replace the word cat with ta and replace the word kitten with techie. And within one lesson, they actually can do 1 bar dictations that I can play it and they will translate it for me. And that they then compose and I have to write it down and vice versa. And it's hugely successful. It's great fun as well, because they just go, oh my goodness, I can do this. I can read. It's easy peasy. It's lovely.
Those that haven't seen them, Sister Carol, do you know Sister Carol up in Kylemore? She's done 5 books of Kodai-based rhythms and singing and things like that. And that stuff you're talking about, Catherine, with the pictures, like the first couple of books are all just pictures of birds and chickens and kittens, and it's glorious. She's hand-drawn the whole lot. And they're dirt cheap. Notre Dame University are pouring money into that place. And so these books are dirt cheap. And they're fabulous for working with children in groups, because they don't start out with notation at all. They literally start out with little pictures and learning their tas and their TTs and all that sort of stuff. And pitches, well, it goes right through. They're beautiful things.
So if you can put the link up for that, you Kelly. I know Sis Carol has done absolutely incredible stuff. So if you could put the link in the chat, maybe. I'm just going to show you a little thing of. So this is Spread Your Wings, and it's not very imaginative or anything, but it's incredibly efficient. All these kids are college students now, so I had great fun finding them. And so on. So I mean, that was just when they learned the new little tune, and after that, you know, there was no problem whatsoever with finding the rhythms within it. I'm just going to show you this one. Hold on. This one part, how we did it in the group. Here we go. So at that stage, you know, just see how they interact with each other a little bit. So we had quite a lot of rather wild boys there at that time. So just the little high fives there in the middle, and them actually just getting on with it, just something you do. I miss that a little bit. So I just feel nowadays in my orchestras, anyway, this year is anyway, good to not to help, but it's just it's quite formal, and you know, and very, very structured, and very, it's often quite performance based. We have to get through this section, whatever. I'm missing a little bit of that, and I do realize that the last generation that has worked like this were much more solid in their rhythm reading than the generation we have at the moment, because it's not a regular part of their kind of informal learning. So for myself, I want to get back into that a little bit more, because it just makes it quite yeah. Are you still there?
I was laughing at the child who was sneezing in the corner. That was like just boom. It's also,
Yeah,
was that Josh?
That would not happen nowadays. It was Josh who was yeah in the
These are
I'd be
kids that would have
arrested for that now.
grown up.
Yeah, they're all grown up.
Arrested for sneezing in public now.
Yeah, no, we'd all be arrested for that lesson altogether. But that's a different question. So
there's one thing I'd like to ask, actually, because it's always been a concern of mine where using or teaching rhythm with words, is that I think the ultimate way to count is by counting absolute values. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. I think that's the most accurate way to count. I think it's kind of like the ultimate, the pedestal of being able to count. And the reason why is because you never get lost within a set of rhythms. And if you're presented with a rhythm that you've never come across before, you can read it. It was one thing that struck me when I left college for studying classical music, and then meeting loads of jazz musicians and modern musicians that were used to reading complicated rhythms. 9 times out of 10, they used that system: 1 and a 2 and a 3 and. And I can never see the bridge between using phonetics and that system. They're completely foreign from each other. They don't really seem to be married. I think that phonetics, you get results much quicker, definitely. But yeah, it's always been a concern that you end up going down a route that is kind of hard to come back from. You know what I mean?
It is definitely mixing it quite quickly then, you know, with the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. But my experience is that for young children it is very, very hard. Or I haven't found a way to have the 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and I mean it's fine to count like that in your head, but how do you clap it within that? So it's for the really young ones, I found that very difficult. But in the orchestras now, we have started to use it, and I have experienced that the first thing to go from that to count 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 was very difficult. So if people have breakthrough experiences there, how to have it from different angles, then that would be wonderful. But what is so nice about this now is that, for example, kids look at something, says, oh, that's a Tito, that's a syncopa, you know, that's a Sue. So that's kind of, you know, once they've that figured out, it goes beautifully together. And of course, it doesn't cover it.
Yeah, for sure. Like once you go
But
sync
you-
goes just a little bit too long, you're kind of lost. If you get
Yeah.
one of them wrong, that's the whole weakness in the system. Is if one of them is wrong, then you end
Yeah,
up.
so I mean
completely
that's definitely a thing. So I mean to bring in a metronome, to bring in the first beat and all of that, of course, is something to go alongside with it. But like to have a syncope. How do you count as a syncope for a small child with 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and
Yeah,
in a way that, you know, they can grasp it? I haven't found a way there.
There's an age thing, that the similar thing with using finger numbers for Suzuki teaching 1, 2, 3 and using ABC, and that I've recognized this quite recently, that there is a brain development around the age 9 that they are very resistant to changing a system. So if you have started a child off because of their parent rather than the child, or that you've started a 3-year-old off who doesn't know their alphabet, and that it doesn't matter whether they know their alphabet, labeling is arbitrary, but 1, 2, 3 is easy for the parent. We must change it fast. As soon as they can physically put down the thing, then you're just, and if they don't know their alphabet, they do not have to divine what the note is called. It's nice if they do, because then they've a logic. But I can just say, like, you're called Katharina and you're called Gary. There's no logic to that. It's just you are. So this is called a C sharp. This is called a D. That's what it is. And that I think it's the same thing as Dara is talking about, and Dara and I would be very similar on this, very theoretical. I like them to recognize that for a crotchet, out of your mouth must come 2 things if you're counting 1 and, wherever it is in the bar. So if I've got quaver and a crotchet and a quaver, then they just know that the next 2 things come out of their mouth. So the first one, how many things come out of your mouth? 1, because it's a quaver. We're essentially marking a quaver. Then that's the crotchet. How many things come out of your mouth for a crotchet? Okay, 2. What are the next 2 things available? And 2. Okay, what's the next one? It's a quaver. Many things come out of your mouth. But that's a 9, 10-year-old that they've got a concept of subdivision. I think that you've got to use both methods side by side. So there's no perfect way of doing it, but I do think there's definitely a line at which you've left it too late.
Yeah.
Don't want
I
to do
have
it.
experienced that.
I'm going to thank you all very, very much indeed. And I'm going to excuse myself. I'm getting to hear live music at 3:30.
Aren't you so lucky?
Not live, Zoom, but solo. Okay, bye. Thank you so
Enjoy.
much. Bye. I will.
See you later. Enjoy your concert.
Also,
Okay,
can I just for 2 seconds get in on that thing, just to reply to Darren a little more clearly. We start children learning music at age 1.
Here, just turn off my video.
And at age 1, there are games and things that are specifically designed to be appropriate for young children to learn as they would. It's the principle behind Suzuki, the sort of mother tongue idea, that the way of inheriting gestures and responses to music and ultimately reading skills that really predate any ability to be able to count to 4 or to understand subdivisions or fractional thinking or anything else, and that the names are the established way at this stage of actually ensuring that you could take children through that early stage and end up with children who are musically literate at 5 or 6 years old, and that you can transition to teaching in any system that you want at that stage, but that for early years learning, there's no way you're doing 1, 2, 3, 4 with children, not with 2-year-old children, and doing 1 and, because it's a conceptual thing and they just can't get around it. That's all.
I'd just like to add something there. There's a lovely Dutch system which has these cards where we have the same simple ideas. Apple, I have 2 beats is a pair. Of course, you obviously have to be quite clear how long a pair is and count and show them that it's 2 beats and say pair and clap like this. The other one I can't translate too well into English, but this one are pancakes, and in Dutch that is pannenkoeken. And it gets on to chocolate and jam and all kinds of things, and it's quite lovely. And I have found that small children respond very well to these cards, and they each get a set of cards, and they have to choose which cards they're going to use, and then they improvise a small piece by arranging the cards, deciding, even if they're just plucking open strings, what string they're going to pluck each card on, and they make an own composition that, you know, so there's a lot to do with really young children, and basically having word concepts. And then later on, when I have older children and they've done this, then later on I say, well, you know that rhythm. It might now be hemi, semi, demi quavers, but it's panna kuchen, or whatever, so they always have something, can understand mathematically how things fit in, but they also understand just the basic rhythmic idea within the counting. That's all.
Well done, Christy.
Yeah, no, I think that's. I think any methods with naming things and showing things and flashcards and whatever work. I think it doesn't really matter what you do, but I found it incredibly helpful just to get a sense the length and how they belong together, which is not completely conscious, So but then I do really agree with Dara then to where to draw the line to actually introduce 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, or to understand where the beats are in the bar is very, very important. What I have found helpful there as well is to do a little bit of conducting with the children, that they all learn how to conduct their 4 beats in the bar, for example, and then understand where they are and so on. Yeah, it's to get to the more advanced rhythm reading is not the easiest, because I mean the whole idea is to make the children independent musicians so that they can read and write themselves. Writing is probably a great help as well, to just really enable them to write their own pieces, and in the beginning it can be all over the place. Start writing a piece, just what Christy said there now, that you say, these are the ingredients. I mean, with the little ones, I always do it that they have rhythm cards, for example, or something, and then put them together and choose a string, or they have games where they put different things together. Yeah, but the sooner they can write things themselves, the sooner they will understand the bigger structure as well, I think. Now, so to leave the rhythm behind, I'm sure everybody has their own things that work, but I just find it so important to find something that you enjoy. I just want to introduce you to these cards. I have put something in the chat there, the violincircus.com it's called. It's a German woman. Well, she lived in America and in Ireland. I have never found out where she and a violinist, Kundry Schäfer is her name, and she has a very good website. She also had a presentation at the last ESTA conference, which was all online. Basically, it's a set of cards that come in a lovely little bag. You can even choose the color of the bag when you order them. And there's 3 different card types in it. One is called acrobatics and creativity. Everything is in German and English. I'm not very fond of this picture, but anyway, that's the back of those ones. Then another set of them is characters and timbre. And then there's the third one, which is called technique and accuracy. Now, this is violin and viola, but I mean also usable for cello and double bass and whatever. You can just always, it's quite a lot of cards, and you can sort them through a little bit, whatever you find most interesting. I enjoy mostly the acrobatics and creativity cards. So you can use them for individual students, but you can also use them for groups. And I've quite enjoyed them for quartets, but I would choose very carefully which ones I would put in the set, and then they can just, pick one and then go for it. What is great about it, so yeah, okay, just to give you an idea. what it is about. For example, if I let them choose one of these cards, this one then says the task is play with your eyes closed. So it's a very straightforward task, and it's I think often we are overloading children with too many things at the same time. So this is one task. Okay, we just have played our D major scale. Now we're going to do it again with our eyes closed, and they will listen much better and so on. It's just to do something again, to reinforce something, but with one aspect. Another one of these creativity cards that I quite like is sing and play the melody at the same time. And you can do that, of course, with any quartet piece or whatever. There we go. Christy has the set of cards in front of her. So for my younger students, a lot of them bought these cards and have them at home, and would just, when they do their warm-up, if they do a 10-minute warm-up before their or as part of their practice, they will just choose scales are very, very useful for that, of course, and for all the pieces. If you're working on a certain passage in the piece, you can go through all these cards. But these ones, there's some that are just great for groups. For example, pull faces while playing. And it's incredible how it can ease tension and all of these things. So some of them are really silly. Hold the bow the wrong way around, which is really interesting to just feel where the balance is and everything. And they have so much fun with it that they hardly realize that they actually learn something quite amazing. Then, stand on one leg and things like that. But then also things like, imagine you're playing in a big hall and play for the nice old lady in the last row. I often throw that in when they come close to your performance, that all of a sudden it's incredible how they, straighten for the little lady in the last row. It's very different than, say, play out, please, play out a little bit more, just to put a little bit of that into it. Then play lying down is great to try. And then some that were great for the just for the lockdown, for them at home for their practice, is play in every room of your house, and what's the difference, and then have a concert for all your soft toys. I mean, I know it's all things that have been done before, so it's nothing revolutionary, but it works very nicely when you have a set of cards. Technique and accuracy is all about getting what weight you use in your bow, or play with a heavy bow arm, and you just visualize the elephant climbing on bow speeds and all of that. So that's all about technical things. Then the character and timbre, those cards here, they throw in a load of kind of music theory terms. For example, maestoso. Can you play it really majestically? Play your G major scale like you're accompanying a king walking into the room. Just things like diminuendo and decrescendo. They just every time you pick up a card and do something, you also actually establish the term or reconfirm what's the word? Reinforce. Terms. And I mean, and it's very interesting what the kids come up with. This is one of my favorite, misterioso. So to actually play a scale, like what techniques they come up with, it's just very beautiful. So this is just something that's available, and you can look it up. It's not very expensive either. I found it helpful, especially in the lockdown now, that kids had something fun to start their practice with or something. But of course they have to be used, and they have to be guided by yourself. But the kids love them. They really, really enjoy them especially in quartet, if each of them gets to choose one card. about, you know, and we can, I sometimes throw it in the middle of something when we're working on a piece and we just need a slightly new angle or something to pick it and then see, okay, how does it work if we play it really dolce? Oh, how does it sound like if we play it really angry, which is another card here. Yeah, but it's good to roughly pick. And yeah. Now Bertie says it is 3:30.
No.
Says it very quiet.
That was a private message. To
It
you.
was a very private message. But,
Shut up.
Yeah, so we can wrap up. I was very, very happy about the early session this morning, especially, and just getting all your different angles and stuff. And I kind of felt like, you know, when we're back to life and everything, it just would be so nice to start the chamber music course on a Friday night and actually have a session like that, have a sharing session before going into everything else, because it's always very hectic because we have like 70 something children and we have to make it all work, and it's all so it just is just to exchange a bit more, because all of you have so much experience and so many ideas, and yeah, just to bring them together like this morning, I think is something that would be very, very nice to continue with, and just to stay in touch with. Anybody would like to say anything? You all look very comfortable now, ready to relax into your Sundays finally.
Dinner.
Dinner, okay.
Actually, I'd just like to say thank you to Katharina and to Katharine for all of the work that went into this weekend, because I didn't.
Thank you.
I've done loads of these Zoom things and they haven't really been all that enjoyable, to be honest with you. But this was a joy for the last. Well, because it's distant and everything else. And I have to say, the thing that has struck me most forcibly over the weekend, what we've talked about music and that and all the rest, but the thing that has come across, which is the thing I take away from it most, is when both of you talk about your students and all of these games, it goes beyond the actual technical thing of making the music. It really is about engaging with the children on a very personal level. And I think a lot of the thoughts that I've actually come away with over the week, even those cards there about making the music more exciting and more enjoyable for the children rather than always being about the technical things, has been a revelation, I have to say, and I've enjoyed it very much. So thank you to both of you for all the work. Really.
Great. Thank you. Thanks you. Yeah, I mean, that's what it is in the end. We all just want to actually enjoy ourselves as well. So unless it's enjoyable for us, it won't really be enjoyable for them. So it's that's something that I'm practicing more and more. But the most enjoyable thing, I think, is when you see your children, your students become independent musicians and doing their own thing. So what I really have enjoyed most, I have this whole lockdown thing, is this one family where we have 4 children playing, and the oldest one has just done her leaving cert, and she you know, she started playing with her siblings as a full string quartet, and the youngest one is only 10. He plays a little bit, it's not his main thing really, but she roped him into becoming part of that string quartet, and because he wasn't on the same level as the others, she started alternating his parts. And it went very much from in the beginning of the lockdown of, you know, asking me, do you have parts here and there? And, you know, I gave them some things. And then she just slowly altered them. And she very soon wrote her complete own arrangements. Then they went busking as a family on the street and were asked, you know, could they participate in this Gigi Caher competition, talent competition, families, you know, of whatever. And she said, okay, you know, let's do it. And they had very, very little time, but she wrote 4 arrangements of, you know, popular tunes that she then started listening out, that she had actually nothing to start with. And, you know, she hand wrote them out. And so they did this thing. They went through they won the whole first round, which I found amazing, because Gigi Caher is so much about trad. And they were one of the only I think they were possibly the only ones who didn't have any trad in it, but you know, played a classical arrangement, something with the string quartet moving around. They're all sonic strings people as well, and so they're through to the finals now. You should have a look. It's around Christmas or something. But just I was talking to her last night. Just this thing of, you know, this yes, okay, we can just about read what's on the page, to realizing, hey, we can actually make up our own thing, and then just doing it. And just the potential that she has shown in the past half a year has just can do if we just enable them, if we give them some tools, a little bit of guidance, and you know, so that's always the ultimate thing of giving them the tools, and then that they can do it themselves. So, and we are still in the bloody virus, but hopefully soon we can, I think we can prepare kids, you know, to get excited about chamber music, throw them parts, throw them recordings and everything, you know, go through the things so that when we are back, that we are fully prepared and actually can get going again together.
I have a question here for you, Katharina, and also for everyone else. Two things I found difficult with online teaching is general motivation for teenagers. Sometimes it's just psychologically all a bit too much. The school, the lack of contact with friends. Now in Belgium, kids can go back to school, but teenagers, some of them can go some days and some days not. And I just wondered if anyone knows any miracles for getting teens to get slightly more. Yeah, well, that was just one thing. The other thing was apps for practicing. Does anybody use any of these practice apps? Because I've been looking through them, but it's much nicer, obviously, to have a reference. If someone says, I use an app and my pupils log in and I can see that they've practiced and I can send them extra little comments. I mean, I just use WhatsApp basically for sending extra things. But I just wondered if anyone else has any wise words.
I do not.
No.
I'm having a great time with my teenagers, but I just very much treat them. I just, you know, make them feel very grown up lately, because we or some advice here and there. But I have not worked with any practice app. Does anybody else here? You have to be the one to explore that, Christy, and then you tell us all about it. It'll have to be that way, I'm afraid.
Oh, we'll throw the question out as well when we're talking to our members, just in case anybody else has.
Thank you.
I'll tell Sinead.
Okay. Shall we
Okay,
call it?
it's 20 to 4. Well, it's up to you, Katharina.
Yeah,
call us. I'll let you call us.
I'm very happy to finish it here, and I'm very, very grateful we could have this. It was kind of Alan's idea from the beginning, because we had 3 different models of what to do this year, but they got you know, a lot of things was with working with actual chamber groups. We thought, yeah, sure, by then, you know, we are gonna be back. So it was cut, and this was now the last idea. But for me, it certainly has been a boost. So good out of it, and yes, we see you soon.
It was good to see you all, guys. Talk to you all again soon.
Thank you,
safe.
Betty.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks very much, everyone.